Number one, exercise is the biggest activity that improves your risk of all chronic diseases. It reduces risk of heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, diabetes, kidney disease, etc. Exercise improves all organ functions, lung function, brain function, heart function. Exercise targets all the mechanistic hallmarks of aging like telomere shortening, mitochondrial dysfunction, cell senescence, etc. So exercise is by far the magic pill that we should take. Like, it's the most powerful intervention out there right now. Nothing will replace exercise in the near future. Exercise is an example of a hormetic stressor. So if you are engaged in a stressor in moderate amounts, such as exercise, you get positive protective effects on your health. Not engaging in any exercise is bad for your health because it makes your body weaker and you have worse blood markers and just worse body composition, more fat, less muscle. If you engage in too much exercise, then that can also be harmful because you'll be imposing too much stress and damage on your body with not enough recovery. So for exercise, moderate amounts of exercise is the sweet spot. And generally being slightly more exercising than less. How much exercise is then optimal? Based on a lot of research out there, you want to aim for approximately 200 to 300 minutes per week of vigorous exercise. So that includes resistance training, high intensity cardio, etc., and more kind of a zone 2, zone 3 types of exercise, so actual exercise. And people who engage in that have lower rates of heart disease and mortality. If you start to do too much, you do 900 minutes, then it's still better than not doing any exercise at all, but you start to experience diminishing returns. So the risk reverses. With moderate exercise, then the more you do it, the better it is. So moderate exercise includes walking, hiking, cycling, just, being physically active without necessarily putting in a lot of effort. The more of this moderate exercise you do, the better it is, even up to 900 minutes per week. Walking is an example of moderate exercise, and it's also an easy win. People who walk 8,700 steps a day have been seen to have a 60% lower mortality risk than people who walk 2,000 steps, as well as 51% lower heart disease risk compared to people who walk 2,000 steps. So this is the bare minimum you want to aim for. 8,700 steps a day is relatively simple. It's in total 1.5 hours of walking per day. And this includes groceries. This includes walking around the house, doing house chores, just regular day-to-day walking. So in practice, you'll just need to walk maybe 20 to 30 minutes extra beyond your daily commuting. Exercise also counteracts the aging process. So with age, you see a decline in a lot of physical function and other functional metrics. So for example, muscle strength peaks somewhere in your 30s, and after that, it gradually declines in both men and women. So if you don't exercise, you will experience this gradual decline. If you exercise, you can slow down this decline to a great extent. You can't completely stop it, but it's better to slow it down rather than to descend very rapidly, because people who have less muscle, first of all, they're more frail, they're more likely to fall off the stairs and break a hip, but they're also just with worse metabolic health and worse body composition overall. So the biomarkers that increase the risk of chronic diseases get worse if you don't exercise and if you have less muscle mass. In addition to resistance training, we also want to be doing cardiovascular exercise, because VO2 max, which reflects your cardiorespiratory fitness and maximal oxygen consumption during exercise, also declines with age. It actually starts declining a lot sooner than muscle mass. So already in your 20s, your VO2 max starts declining. And if you don't do any cardiovascular exercise, then your VO2 max will be below average. People with a higher VO2 max live longer and they have better survival. Another easy way to improve our cardiovascular fitness is to do exercise snacks. So this is just a high intensity break where you run up the stairs, cycle, do jumping jacks or something else like that to get your heart rate elevated for just 1 minute. And the research on this shows that these exercise snacks improve cardiorespiratory fitness, they improve blood flow and blood vessel health, and they also improve blood markers like fasting insulin, glucose, and lipids. So whenever we are sitting throughout the day, we want to have these quick, short 1-minute breaks where we do something that gets our heart rate a little bit elevated. Moving on with the sauna, this is another example of a positive hormetic stressor that in moderation can improve our overall health. There's a ton of research on the health benefits of sauna that has been seen to improve cardiovascular disease outcomes, reduce the risk of heart disease, reduce the risk of hypertension, Alzheimer's, dementia, as well as overall mortality. So people who take the sauna regularly have better health and less mortality. And the mechanisms for this are also quite interesting. The sauna essentially mimics exercise. It lowers blood pressure, lowers inflammation, improves blood vessels and arterial stiffness, improves heart health, improves the immune system, lung capacity, reduces stress, etc. So it's basically an easy, moderate intensity exercise. So here are some principles you can follow to adopt a physically active lifestyle that benefits your longevity based on the research. So you want to walk at least 8,700 steps a day. You can walk more than that, but the majority of benefits come from reaching this threshold. Exercise for vigorous exercise. So this involves weightlifting and high intensity cardio. 150 to 250 minutes per week is kind of the sweet spot. You can also go a bit higher, 250 to 300 minutes, but you shouldn't be below this. You shouldn't be below 150 minutes per week. In practice, this means having 3-4 1-hour workouts per week for high intensity. Moderate exercise. So this is walking, cycling, hiking, a little bit of more easier type of exercise, just being more physically active. And the general recommendation here is that do as much as you can, as much as you have time for. What you want to do is combine resistance training and aerobic exercise because that gets the best of both worlds. You want to add some exercise snacks as movement breaks and take a sauna at least once a week, and up to 4 times a week is the sweet spot. The second important pillar or thing to focus on is body composition. So exercise obviously improves your body composition and helps to combat obesity and excess body fat, but this is more in the realm of diet. It doesn't matter how much you exercise. If your diet is bad or if you eat too much food, then you can become overweight and obese and suffer the poor health consequences from that. So obesity is like smoking. It pretty much worsens all health outcomes and increases the risk of all different types of chronic diseases like heart disease, hypertension, Alzheimer's, cancers, etc. It also messes up your sleep by increasing the risk of sleep apnea. What kind of a diet should you follow? Well, the most important thing about any diet is not eating too much. So being in a moderate calorie intake and not being in a calorie surplus all the time. Based on the clinical research, then the Mediterranean diet tends to improve health markers the most, and it's associated with the best health outcomes. So people who eat fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, olive oil, fish, seafood, etc. tend to have better health outcomes and healthier aging. You want to minimize ultra-processed foods and processed foods, although you don't need to be 100% strict with it. One thing you do want to pay attention to in regards to nutrition is protein intake, because protein is what helps you to build muscle, support your exercise, and prevent you from becoming frail. How much protein you need? Based on research, the maximal amount of protein for muscle growth is around 1.6 grams per kilogram per day, which is around 0.73 grams per pound. If you eat more than that, then that's not going to help additional muscle growth. If you eat less than that, then you're leaving some gains on the table. So some easy principles to follow for nutrition: a whole foods mixed diet is associated with the best health outcomes. Protein 1.6 grams per kilogram per day. Eat a mix of plant and animal protein and track your body composition. So the best diet is the one that results in your best blood work, not the one that you think is the best. Sleep. So with age, sleep duration and sleep quality decreases. Older people in their 70s and 80s sleep shorter than younger people. And they also get a lot less REM sleep and slow wave sleep or deep sleep. So that's a problem because sleep, like short sleep, is going to increase the risk of many diseases and can accelerate aging. How much sleep is optimal for a general population? A lot of the research suggests that 7 hours is actually the sweet spot with the lowest mortality risk. But, that can be confounded by many variables. What you don't want to do is sleep less than 6 hours, and anything between this 7 to 8 hour window can be the sweet spot. If you sleep 6 to 7 hours and you feel fine, then that's not something you need to be particularly concerned about. Maybe you need less sleep because if you're healthier, your body recovers faster, etc. But if you exercise regularly, then chances are you need at least 7 to 8 hours to give your body the adequate recovery to build muscle and actually get stronger. With age, you see a disruption in the circadian hormones and the general circadian clock system. The younger individuals, they have big swings in melatonin, the sleep hormone, big rise in cortisol, the stress hormone in the morning, and big fluctuations in all the circadian output. As you get older, circadian rhythms become more dysfunctional, and there's less fluctuation amplitude in these hormones, so it becomes more flatlined. That's a concern because, first of all, that would reduce our sleep quality, reduces our overall energy levels as well, but it also is kind of part and parcel of aging of the circadian clock system. Circadian rhythm disruption, so having a very irregular behavioral habits, irregular sleep times, irregular eating times, they can contribute to worse health outcomes. So people with circadian disruption are seen to have high risk of heart disease, high risk of cancer, and other health problems, whereas people with more circadian synchrony, their behavior is more regular. They wake up around the same time, go to bed around the same time, eat around the same time. These individuals have synchronized circadian rhythms and better health outcomes. So what we want to do is minimize the disruption and promote more synchrony. Here are some sleep principles you can follow. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You could take 15 to 30-minute naps per day. Try to keep it within this time frame, not longer than that. Promote circadian entrainment and regularity. So do things around the same time. Wake up and go to bed around the same time. In the mornings, get exposed to bright lights to initiate the proper circadian rhythm, and in the evening block out blue artificial light to not disrupt your melatonin and not disrupt your sleep. I want to also talk about the importance of social relationships. So as I said earlier, the biggest determinant of your life satisfaction and happiness are your relationships. So this is one of the oldest human studies in the world, the Harvard study of adult development, and they found that the quality of your relationships was the biggest determinant of the people's well-being and happiness. So this is something to keep in mind, that you could have perfect physical health, but if your social health or mental health is suffering, then that's not optimal. That's not as good as having an equal balance in all different aspects of your health, including your physical, mental, and social health. So that's it from me. These are some of the principles of longevity science that we know can have positive effects on your healthy aging. If you want to connect with me, then check out @SiimLund on all the social media platforms, or send me an email to info@siimlund.com.
There's something so grounding about evidence.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, we love the woo-woo part of things, it is important that we are grounded, because we are living on third dimension right here on Earth. And this is why practical things and using, for instance, the mind to, be the guiding discipline and principles and properly bring those right principles into your daily habits and routines. That's what today's about, to be able to really keep your body healthy. This is your temple. This is where it all begins. And so it brings us clarity to be able to know this is actually what's been studied. This is actually what's known. And what was your favorite part about it? Please put it in the chat. Share with us what is something you're already doing.
Well, I was just going to say, have you guys already seen him before on YouTube? He's all, he pops up everywhere. It's so crazy that we were, able to have him tell our Earth 2.0 group what the leading science is. So that's very special. And with that, we can have so much information, but it only really becomes transformation when you apply that information.
And some of the most powerful tools are simple.
Light, heat, and environment. Next up, we have Brian Richards, where he shares just this. Light, heat, and longevity, why the sauna is one of the most powerful healing tools that you could have.
Hi guys, this is Brian with the 12-month system upgrade series inspiring the Earth 2.0 movement. Today, I'd like to talk about light and heat and the power of both of those, and why sauna therapy and light therapy are really two of the most powerful tools you have at your fingertips nowadays for longevity. So for me, this journey of health was very personal. It still is, but it started like 15 years ago. I had some adrenal fatigue, some insomnia, Had like this weird acne on my back. You couldn't see it. If you met me, you thought I looked fine, but I wasn't. And my mom actually recommended that I get a sauna detox. So I'm looking up saunas and I find this concept that eventually became Sauna Space, and it's called the electric incandescent light bath. So I thought this was so cool, right? It's this sauna that is powered by light bulbs. And I built one for myself and used it right before bed. Had this amazing sleep. So really like my insomnia was gone like that. And so I continued to use it, for many, many months, probably like 6 months. And after that, all these issues that I had that were just related to kind of burning the candle at both ends, a little bit too toxic, they all evaporated. And actually my brain power and my cognitive function was super, my brain power and just my patience, my ability to deliver and talk to people, my energy levels, all of it was like completely transformed. And this really blew me away. Where is this technology and where is this experience? And so that got me on to this 12 or 14-year odyssey now of developing light therapy products. So today I wanted to dive into light and heat, and this, more than that, just like the challenge that we face nowadays in wellness, where everything is overly mentalized. We're like trying to do everything, use our mind power to achieve everything. It's all about doing, protocols, supplements. It's like forcing this natural healing experience that we have when we engage in embodiment. So what I'd like to talk about today is light and heat combined with presence. And light and heat are like two of the most powerful ways, not just to heal, but also to facilitate and promote the power of presence, the power of being here and now. And there's nothing else, just the here and now. The first tool is light. We are beings of light, literally. We emit biophotons. We have auras. You can use Kirlian photography and measure like the quality of your auric field is related to the health of your organs in your body. So light is something that permeates our reality. And most of the light that we've evolved to benefit from is from the sun. It's incandescent light. So light is the most powerful nutrient we have in our reality. And it's mostly, originally, it was sunlight. Light is not just fueling us and healing us. It's really like the signal that reminds us of who we are and how we can heal ourselves. Our body's inner engineering relies more on anything. It relies on light more than anything else in the environment to understand what is my center, where am I going, where am I located? Is this a safe environment? And we know also with mitochondria, it's how we fuel ourselves. In fact, if you're outside a lot in the sun, you don't need to eat as much. You don't need to eat as many dense foods. The sun regulates your circadian rhythm. So this cycle of us awake and sleeping every day, it regulates our hormones, our mood. It boosts our immune system. It's tremendous how influenced we are by light. And we all know this because when we work in front of a computer and we get lots of blue light and we stay up late watching TV, we don't sleep well and we don't have as much good energy the next day. There's so many other aspects to how powerful light is influencing us. So all that to say that the light really tells your body and reminds your body of how to function, of how to be. And then beyond light, or I should say the source of light is heat. So the sun is burning at like 6,000 degrees or even hotter. And it's that light source that we call incandescent light. The light is coming from this glowing body. So the heat actually, the light emerges from the heat. So the heat and the light are not separate things. They're very much interrelated. And especially with our experience with sunlight or firelight, we have this combined experience where light and heat are really the same thing. They're all wavelengths in the electromagnetic spectrum. And heat is so powerful for the body. It's cleansing, it's refining, it's rejuvenating. We know that sauna is one of the only known therapeutics that will extend your health span, so the years of your life that you're healthy. But it's much more than that. The throughout history, heat